record on. And there we go. All right. So yeah, hi everyone, welcome along, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your lunch to learn about social media. I usually put these details at the end, but today I'm putting them up first. So that QR code will take you to my Instagram page, Noodle Horse Media, where you can find lots of tips and tricks that are really going to further you after you're done with this lesson today. And any of my details for my website and my email there as well. If you have any more questions at the end of this session that are on your mind, by all means, please slide into my DMs, send me an email, or send me a message through my website, and I'll be happy to help you. Also, if there are any bits of content, specifically Instagram, that you do make today that you think, oh, I'd love to know your thoughts on it, if there's anything I could have done differently, then just tag me in it, send me it as a DM, let me know, and I'd love to see it and send you some feedback as well. So by all means, reach out. Okay, so I am Lynn, founder of Noodle Horse Media, and I set up my social media consultancy with the aim to empower individuals and businesses to excel online. I've got over 9 years of industry experience, and I've got such a deep understanding of social media trends and how much it's changed in that time. God, what I used to be able to get away with posting for businesses in 2015 is just completely different to how it is nowadays, but it's such an ever-changing landscape, and one that really interests me. So why did I set up Noodle Horse Media? I did it with the intention of supporting a wide range of clients, from owners struggling with on-camera confidence. That is something I can definitely help you with, getting out of your shell. And wait until the end of this session whenever I show you just how nervous I used to be speaking to camera back in sort of the 2016 era. I also make sure that people are presenting themselves in a really genuine and informative manner, engaging and captivating their ideal audience, and hopefully converting them into your next client. So my journey in social media has taken me all over the world. I've been to California, to Finland, climbing up on top of mountains, doing social media. But the thing that really gets me most excited is nowadays just helping people that are so daunted by picking up that phone and speaking to their ideal client. So I am ready to be your biggest cheerleader for that. Here's some of the clients that I've worked with since setting up my own business in 2021. One of my first was TGI Fridays. I flew over to London to train their team in TikTok. I've worked with Rally Bikes, the Northern Ireland Science Festival, NIE. I've done a 12-month project with the Royal Academy of Engineering, which was getting kids into STEM careers, science, technology, engineering, and maths. And I've recently just finished a program down with the Wicklow Craft Foundation, down with Wicklow County Council. That was an excellent way to meet lots of people who were insanely talented at what they do, but they really struggled with how they could tell their story onto social. And obviously, I am a Go Succeed mentor, and that's why you're seeing me here today. All right, so why should you be creating on social media? It's a perfect way to boost your brand's visibility. You can engage with your audience and drive sales by crafting compelling content for your business's social media. So simply, you want to be building up a community with people that are on your level, okay? This is something I can't state enough. It's really hard not to look at people's accounts that are in your industry and be like, oh my God, she's got, 20,000 followers, or, this or that. But what does that actually mean? What does it convert to in your bank account each month? You need to be making sure that you're getting in front of the right people that are going to buy from you, either your services or your products. And they're the ones that are paying your bill at the end of the day. So you want to attract them, your ideal client, in those aspects, rather than just trying to go for these big kind of vanity metrics. And if you put out a post and it underperforms, well, then you give up and you don't go forward with it. You want to just keep fostering that wee community of people who are going to be your biggest cheerleaders when you're not in the room, and they're going to be shouting about how good you are. All right, so I'm going to focus a lot on Instagram today with the content creation types, but you can absolutely put a lot of these into the other platforms as well. So first up, you've got your single post, and that's what people would have known as the original way of posting on Instagram, a single image, and you write a caption underneath it. So these are great, and they are good for quotes, for simple explanations, and even the odd selfie, if you like that sort of thing. There's also a way that you can make sure that your captions are going to be asking a question so that people are going to be commenting under it and engaging in a little bit of a chat. So I think one I posted up recently related to my niche was, what was the first social media platform you ever signed up for? So I had lots of people sort of my age saying that it was Bebo for them. And it was a great way of getting a conversation started into the chat. Single posts are great, but have a wee look on your Instagram, and if you've got single posts and you're scrolling back and you're seeing that there are ones that you've had to explain a topic and you've ended up writing like quite a few paragraphs, well, this is a perfect way to take a beat and think, when I'm scrolling on Instagram, how often am I reading those really, really long captions? Chances are not that much. So you can convert those into a different content type, which is a carousel. So that's a great way of breaking up a difficult concept over a number of slides. So as you can see on the image here, you'll know something's a carousel because it has these little dots here, and it also has like 1 out of, you can have up to 10 slides currently. They are thinking about making it a little longer, but you can have up to 10 slides that you can swipe through this way instead of swiping up the way on your phone and reading a big caption. So what I mean by that is that you can pair an image, for instance, with a page of text, then another image, then a page of text. So it looks like a slideshow, like a carousel that people can swipe through and take that information that you have spent ages writing into paragraphs below a single post. You can actually just transfer that, break it up into manageable nuggets, and they are going to absolutely digest that a lot easier than a full wall of text. So what could this look like? So for instance, a client that I worked with, they were at an event. So we had the first picture and I just put a little bit of a title on it. And then the next slide, you swipe across and it was a bit of text. And then the next slide was a picture. And then the next slide was a bit more text explaining what the event was like, you know, who we saw, you know, neighboring exhibitors, and you can just go alternating with your text and your photos. Another great way to do it for me is I love talking about feedback that I've got. So if you've got testimonials, you could have a page of text with how the client got on with you, then a photo from the, you know, for me, it's the training day that we did, and you would just repeat that. So it's a way of breaking down a complex subject into manageable bite-sized chunks. So have a wee think, just like while we're sitting here today, what do you have? What do you do that you could have a carousel where you're breaking down a number of items? If you want to pop it in the chat, I would love this to be quite interactive, because the more that you guys can give me some little nuggets of what it is you do, the more I'll come up with ideas as we go along for the types of content that you could make. All right, next up, you've got Instagram stories. These are a nice, safe space for lots of people, and where they usually start to show up when they want to start getting in front of the camera. And that's because they only last for 24 hours. And for some reason, people think of this as a bit of a security blanket for them. They're perfect for behind the scenes at events, your daily updates with what you're doing. So you might be packing some orders today. You could do a little bit of a, this is what I've got going on today while you're waiting for the kettle to boil. Although, side note for that, I have tried to do that at sometimes, and sometimes the noise of the kettle can be really loud. So just keep that in mind when you're going to do a little story with a behind the scenes of what you're up to today. People absolutely want to hear it, but just think of your noise in the background if you're boiling your kettle. Let's see. The cool thing about stories is that it has the interactive stickers. So if you look up here, this is where the smiley square face is. And from there, you have a range of interactive stickers you can use. So for instance, this is the question box. You can post that and people can then send a message to you. Interestingly, if you ask one about your business, sometimes it's hard for people to answer directly about your business. But if you're doing something like, see this need new restaurant recommendations, okay, how I would weave that into making it about you, but with in a roundabout way is, let's say you owned like a clothing shop, for instance, and you were flying over to London on a buying trip. You could put up a story with a picture of Camden or whatever in the background, and a question box with London friends, any restaurant recommendations for the Camden area. And then people are more willing, because it's more specific to them, to type in an answer. But if you are doing something that you don't think you're necessarily getting the traction on, but you want to share people's responses, you can absolutely just use your own personal page and answer the question, and then you can share that question on another story and people won't know that it's from you. So you've got options to just work it, to weave it into the whole narrative that you're doing. You've then got polls where, sorry, this one is a quiz. So the difference between a poll and a quiz is a quiz has a correct answer. A poll has just opinions. So you would do on a poll, if you owned a shoe shop, you could put 4 pictures of a green shoe and say, which is your favorite, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and people can vote on which is their preferred one. Whereas this one is a quiz, so it's guess where I'm going. And again, that has a definitive answer, and you can say, yes, you're absolutely right. I am off to Paris today. I'm actually going for a meeting with blah, blah, blah. So that's the follow-up you can have. Next up, just a fun one you can do instead of a poll could be using the little slider emoji, and you can just get people to vote on a certain thing like that. All right, so we've got single posts, carousels, and stories. And then finally, I am going to be talking about reels today. So reels are short form, very addictive, off the moment video that you'll find on Instagram, very similar to the likes of TikTok or YouTube Shorts, if you're that way inclined. And they can be so much more than just dancing. A lot of people think, oh God, I'm going to have to act the goat in front of all my followers. You absolutely don't. You can do educational reels, you can answer frequently asked questions, all sorts of things to try and engage with your ideal client. So let's take a closer look. Before we begin on that, I'm going to say these are some things that I have learned over the last 9 years in social media that would be a takeaway for anybody that is, wondering, I just can't get over this mental block. Number 8, social media is a long game. Okay. So in as much as it's fun to try and chase the big vanity metrics and stuff, if you're doing stuff that isn't genuine to you, you'll burn out really quickly if you don't feel like it's actually the truest you. by all means, you got to push yourself out of your comfort zone a wee bit. But if your brand is very relaxed, like say you're a yoga teacher or Pilates teacher or something, you're not going to be like, hey guys, what's happening? I'm just here. Blah, blah, blah. You know, you're not going to be like full high energy or anything like that. You need to find the tone of voice that suits for you and is just the right amount of pushing you forward without it being like, no, I cannot keep this up and I need to crawl into bed and under the duvet of shame, like, because there's no point on being hard on yourself. But I want to just give you the confidence to get out of that box and like try a few wee things here. Now, use social media definitely to test out ideas. The safest place to do that is on stories because it disappears after 24 hours. But don't just focus on stories because they are only ever going to go to the X amount of followers that you have. So if you've got 500 followers, not all of them will see your stories, but the ones who do, they'll see it, but you'll never grow to non-followers if you only post on stories. That's where your reels and your carousel posts and stuff, they're going to get the bigger reach into non-follower, the non-follower zone. And that's how you can then attract these people who are like, oh, I like the cut of her jib, and then they start following you. Create content that celebrates, empowers, or entertains your customers. Small progress is definitely much better than chasing perfection. Something that I say all the time is posted is better than perfect. And if you mess up a wee bit, like it's okay. The internet definitely forgets faster than it gets angry. So just know that you know this too shall pass, and if you make a mistake, if you make a typo, most people want the best from you. So have just a bit of common sense and just know that your mistakes don't define you. Use your analytics in the back end of Instagram. There is a section where you can look at your analytics. That is if you have a business account or a creator account. If you only have a personal account, you won't be able to see that. Just on that note, okay? If any of you are there with a business account and you're really struggling with music options on your Instagram and everything just is rubbish music when you're trying to make reels, it could be helpful if you switched your account to a creator account. So you still have the benefit of the analytics, but you don't have the restrictions of some of the music that you might want to use. And you can do this by pressing into Instagram, go to your profile page, then on the top right hand corner there'll be the three lines, the burger as they call it. If you click on there and go down to a section that says for professionals, the third one down, it says for me creator tools and controls, but yours it might say business tools and controls. If you click on that and scroll down to switch account type, if you go from there and then if you click on business, if you switch account, switch to creator account instead. You can switch back at any time as well if you want, but that's where you'll find it. So right, there we go. That is some little takeaways that I've learned over the last few years. So creativity strikes. Where do you start? You want to start putting yourself out there on your brand's social media, but what can you do? My first tip, which is going to make things a whole lot easier for you, is sorting out the folders on your phone, okay? And this is so hard for everyone. But see if you go, in a minute, I'm going to be talking about how to create reels using the template folder. And if you have a photo from that exhibition you were at in March, and then there's one from another one you were in February and one in December, and you want to use those all, but you're scrolling in between your memes and photos that people have sent you on WhatsApp and your whole thing is so busy, it'll take you ages. You'll get frustrated and you'll stop making the video. I've done it many times myself. So my wee mission here is do a day by year delete-a-thon, okay? So search in your phone for a certain year. And if you've had your phone for more than a year, it's going to have more, like say it'll have the 12th of January from 2024, 23, 22. You'll have access to all those years. So pick a date and just search for that year, and then you'll see, search for that date, and you'll see all the year's photos that existed just taken on the 12th of January from, 2, 3, 4 years. Go through and just delete the ones that you don't need anymore, and then folder the rest, okay? Now, think of some folder names that you might like to use for your business. So you could have unboxings. You could have nice pics of me to post for days that you're just posting a selfie on your social media, that you want to talk about your business. Somebody might have snapped one off you working at an event or exhibition. You could have a folder of behind the scenes stuff. You could have a folder of, say you were a ceramicist, it would be all mug pictures, or if you had a collection, it could be all the pictures from that. So have a little think about how your folders are going to look, and then how you can start getting that done. Just don't do it for hours to until you're ready to throw your phone out the window, but set yourself like a wee timer for 10, 15 minutes and just go through and delete a load of junk and folder the rest of the stuff that you want. And honestly, it'll make it so much easier when you go to creating content. So let's take a look at your page on Instagram. Okay, so at the bottom here, the home button will take you back to the opening where you can scroll through everybody that you follow and you can see lots of different things. This magnifying glass is the Explore tab. You can search for terms that are related to your business, which is a really good thing to do actually every so often. And you'll see what different people are creating content about that are in your industry. Also in that search area, you can see what the algorithm is serving you that they think you might like. My page will look completely different to your page, to look completely different to the next person's page. It's all really bespoke to you. Next up, either here or up here, is where you can click to create a reel or a story or a post. And then down here is the Reels tab. And from here, you can notice things like trending audios. You'll notice that they look like they have at the bottom an upwards pointing arrow. You can enjoy Reels from all over the world that Instagram thinks that you might like as you scroll through. A really great thing is templates. So every so often you might see a little icon above the person's details and it says use template, or you'll see this camera up here, okay? If you've got loads of photos and mini clips, you can click the use template and it'll auto sync your selected pictures and videos to the music and in the video. This is such a time saver. So if you have done the work already, you've taken clips that you have in your phone, whether it be photos or videos, and now you've done the next step, which is putting them all into a nice neat folder. This is how you're going to be able to create a reel in a matter of moments. Now, here's something that I am very passionate about. I just really dislike when there's black bars on a photo. So say you have a photo that you've taken, which is in a square format, but an Instagram reel is in this format. So it's big, like it's long, it's 9 by 16 and tall, okay? So if you have a picture that you use that is only a square like this, and then all of this is black bars, it just doesn't look as good. And from what I've heard, Instagram don't like it as much either and don't share it as often because it looks a little bit jarring. So if you can, a little tip for iPhone users, when you open up your camera, okay, oops, sorry. Okay, so when you open up your camera on your phone, okay, if you swipe up the way, you'll see a number of buttons at the bottom, and one of them will be 4:3. If you click on it, it'll give you the option to go for 16:9, which gets rid of the black bars at the bottom, and then you can take a full screen picture, which is great. And you can do the same on Androids, it's just in a different position. So yeah, switch over to the 9:16 and you'll be golden. So yeah, once you've clicked on that camera in the top right, it'll take you to templates. And this is where you're going to scroll through and find a song that you like the sound of. And then you click on it and it'll take you to this next section. And these are placeholders, okay? So they had the clips from that template creator in it, but you're going to replace them with your content. So the numbers at the bottom here are how long it's going to remain on screen. So 1.4 seconds, 0.4, 0.4, 0.4. So these ones, that's very quick. So you would obviously just want something like a photo, but you can have a video as well. And this one, it has a little bit longer. So you would want a video in that. So let's take a look at it in action with this video that I made earlier. Open up Instagram and click on the Reel button. It looks like a clapperboard. Templates can be found in two places. On a reel, you might see a button that says Use Template. If you click on that, you can fill up the placeholders with your clips and it'll sync that to the music. Or if you click in the top right-hand corner on the camera icon, then click on Templates at the bottom, you'll find a library of templates with different music. Find one that you like and click on it. As before, you have to scroll through your camera roll and add videos and pictures to fill each placeholder in the template. It won't let you continue unless you fill them all. Press next, and if your template has text, you'll need to edit it to suit your message and branding. You can delete these text boxes too if you press edit video and then the bin icon on each of the text boxes. Anything like me, you've got hundreds of photos and videos on your phone, but you never know what to do with them, right? Use the Reels template feature and create videos that are going to catch the eyes of your audience. Add a caption and a cover photo. You can also collaborate with another user. This is really different to simply tagging them. They'll get a direct message from your account, and if they say yes, your reel will be available on their channel as well as yours, meaning potential new audiences are watching your content. Don't forget to add your location, and if you scroll down to advanced settings, you can also schedule this reel for a time that suits you and your audience. Please give templates a go and tell me, what are you going to create first? Yeah, so there you go. That is a very quick one. And I have been taking the time to look over the comment section at the minute while that was playing. And Lynn, will the slides be available to go over after this session? Yeah, I have started recording this. So actually this whole thing will be available. I can put it on my YouTube channel, but I also can put it, give you guys the slides, to go through at your own pace as well. So if you want them, I guess, either you can get in touch with Deirdre or you can get in touch with me. It's Lynn, Lyn, at noodlehorse.media, and just send me an email and I can send you the link for it.
Sorry, Lynn, if you send the link to us, we'll send it out to whoever's on the thing.
Perfect. Oh, that's even better. Thank you so much, Deirdre.
Thank you.
So yes, you never knew you could schedule a reel. That is such a game changer. I think you can schedule up to well, you see, up until last week, I thought you could schedule up to 5 reels, but I was working with a client last week and we did one of our big content creation days, and we got to 10 and it still hadn't come up with that warning box. So actually they might have changed it now and you can just crack on, which is really good. So yes, talking about cracking on, let's do the same. Open up Instagram. Oh, we've had enough of that. All right. So when it comes to creating content, what do these objects have in common? We've got a plant pot, we've got a wine bottle, and we have some kitchen roll. The plant pot, it's strong, it's sturdy, it provides some cool leafy framing in your shot. The wine bottle, it's solid, it can be slippery if you don't prop your phone up well, but you can drink your contents after you've done some filming, which is great. You've got the kitchen roll, which yes, you can use it as a prop for your phone to film some content, but I also have a really cool trick where you can use kitchen roll, a sock, a duster, or anything smooth that's going to make your phone glide on a table around your product, which is going to be great for the person in the comments section who was talking about they make spices, spice blends and seasonings, okay? So watch this. This is how you're taking your content. It's a bit boring, or you're trying to maybe film a little go past, but your hand's a wee bit shaky. That could definitely look better, right? Well, take your piece of kitchen roll, fold it up like this, take your phone, turn it upside down, and then use it as a nice dolly. Look at that. You are going to be looking much smoother. You're just using a very cheap thing that everybody has in their house, and it's just taking your video up a notch. So that is definitely a little trick. I really like turning the phone upside down because it makes it look more impressive from this angle rather than this way you're looking down on it. The same thing when you're going to take photos, okay? We sometimes have a habit of having our phones a wee bit like that when you're taking a photo of somebody. Really keep it almost to the point of like this way, so it's really up straight rather than looking down like that, okay? It's much more impressive, more impactful for the person that's in the photo. Okay, but if you want to get ahead of the game with regards to not using wine bottles, plant pots, and bits of kitchen roll, here is some of the kit that I have personally bought myself over the years. So first up, we have a gooseneck phone holder. That is about 12 quid on Amazon. That is handy for capturing time lapses of me at my desk. And sometimes whenever I am doing unboxings. A wee negative with that would be that if I have the thing like bent over to look down at an unboxing, sometimes you can see the base, but I mean, you know, who's gonna call the police on you for that? Next up, I've got my mobile phone rig. I've had this for years and years and years. You can add little bits to the top if they have you know, this mount on it. And this is like proper sturdy, you know, Fisher Price, my first phone holder. It's really nice, big handles. You can also mount it to a tripod, either portrait or landscape. But you can hold it, and if you have something that you want to do like a nice close checkup of, it's great for that. The only thing I would say is that now that phones are getting bigger, so it's like a bracket like that, right? And it clamps down on the phone. Doesn't work if you have like a little flip phone case, you know, to keep your cards in. Doesn't work with those. And my phone case is a big chunky boy, and it can sometimes feel like, oh, you might fall out because it doesn't feel like that safely put in. So yeah. I mean, yeah, we can definitely get away with it. So that's how it looks there. Okay. Next up, this is really bougie, but I love having my Apple Watch specifically for the camera remote. I use this all the time to set my phone up, and then I can walk away, be in front of the rear camera because it's better quality. And then I can use the Bluetooth remote and it'll show me a little viewfinder on the screen. But come on, you can absolutely just set your phone up, press a video, and then go to the spot that you think you'll be standing in and talk for like 5 seconds, and then walk back again, stop the video, play it back, and you can see my arm was cut off there. I'll adjust myself, or I can't really hear myself well, I'll come closer. So it's not the be all and end all, but I love it for a remote for my camera, and just it's handy for me. Finally, my quad lock. So these are the phone cases that I use, and they have this big kind of recess in the back. And then from there, you can attach it to different products that are in the quad lock family. So that's the selfie stick that I have, and it's handy to just fold down into nothing, but I can open it up, extend it, and then do this. Again, I would use it for unboxings and things like that. But my second phone also, I have a quad lock case on it. So you just set it in there, and then it locks in like really, really solidly. And you can also have it landscape as well if you need it. I've got a quad lock thing in my car to put my phone in, and one on my bike, and one for my big tripod as well. But I will say they're kind of pricey, and you are then stuck with having this case with like a wee recess in it. It doesn't bother me, but it's so handy for me whenever I'm using my phone as a tripod all the time. So that's some of the products that I use. Back to content creation, mistakes that can happen and how to work around them. See, when you go on to videos, if you were to make a video for a story for the first one of the day, okay, you're not just jumping on to blah, 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 or a hi guys, happy Friday. I just think it's better to get straight into the action, because we all have zero concentration anytime, and people are swiping through so quickly. You've really only got a couple of seconds to hook people in. So don't waste time with the fluffy stuff and just get straight into the action. Okay. So I noticed somebody had said they've got the petting zoo, and I would do something like, Gary has been good again this week. Here's what he's been up to, right? And Gary is like your pet pygmy goat or something, who I'd love to meet. And then from there, you would then share a rake of photos or videos that you've collected throughout the week. You could share that. But in actual fact, you were talking about the carousel. Again, that would be the same thing that you would just do for a carousel. So you would record the piece to the camera first of all, so you could have it using your rear camera if you wanted it, or you can just do it with your selfie camera for the moment, and you would just take your opening bit for a carousel, which the cool thing about carousels is it can be a mixture of videos and photos. So you could have Gary was so good this week, he's our pygmy goat, he's 3 years old, let's take a look at what he was up to. Then you can save that video in your phone, and when you go to your carousels, it's basically in just post. Okay, so when you click the plus button on Instagram, you will then see all your content at the bottom half. You want to click on that video, but then you want to click on the carousel button, which looks like two little squares behind each other, and then you can select on the other photos of that one goat from the week. But you can also make that content into a reel as well. Next up, talking about videos, dead space, or the millennial pause, as some people refer to it as, which harks back to a time when we had video cameras and you would press record and you would give yourself a beat to make sure that the recording had started before you start talking. Nowadays, again, with people's concentration levels waning, they do not want to see, "Hi guys, how's it going?" For a start, they don't want to see the "hi guys," okay? But see that bit at the start, they want that trimmed away. So it's like, here's 3 things that you need to be concerning yourself with this week, or whatever the content is going to be about, okay? And the same for transitions as well too. So that means the movement that happens between a first clip on your video and your second clip. So you could do, say you were like, "Get ready with me to work on the farm today." So you're in your regular clothes and then you have said, "To work on the farm today," and you're putting your hand up to the camera screen, okay? And then you can take it away and press stop, okay? You would only have that clip as long as when your hand hits it and it goes black, okay? And then your next clip is you in your overalls and you press record and then you start with your hand there. "Right, let's get this day's work done." And then you would stop work there. And so when you edit the 2 bits together, it looks more like this, okay? And it's as fast as that. So that's what good dead space trimming on your videos will make. It'll make such a difference to how slick it appears. All right, next up, content creation mistake number 3. Are you actually being social enough? Are you giving your audience something to respond to? Are you asking questions, asking for their help? Hook them in and get the conversation flowing in the contents or in the comments section. This is one that happens time and time again, that people will post their stuff up on social because they feel like they have to, because they haven't posted anything in 3 weeks and they're like, "Oh my God." But when was the last time you commented on someone else's post or, give some encouragement to them? And I think social media has to become much more social again. Otherwise, it just feels like everything is a digital notice board and you're sticking up your poster and walking away. But imagine if you were, you know, standing beside your poster. If you imagine a big cork board in a community hall somewhere and you stuck your poster up, if you walked off, somebody would walk past it and be like, "Oh, cool, nice one," walk on. They might not engage with it at all. But if you were standing there and then you were like, "Oh, I love your dog, that's class," and they might be like, "Oh, thank you. Oh, is this your poster?" And then you could say, "Yes, I'm actually running a workshop on blah, blah, blah." And a conversation happens. So think of it like that way. And I'm not saying spend hours and hours on social media, but the time that you are spending on social at the minute where you're just consuming, have like a little section of that devoted to sharing the love, having conversations with people and just commenting on a few people's posts. All right, talking about hooks to try and hook people in. Here are some that I find could hit all the marks that we were talking about with. Are they asking questions? Are they going to get conversations happening? You can take a little photo of this or it'll be in the presentation when you go back to it. And I will go on to the next one, which has another 4. So the last one is where you would add your ideal audience in and a time and situation. So this is the product every bride needs this, hen party season or something like that. So yeah, have a little look at that. And is there anything there that is piquing your interest that you think, yes, I could absolutely use that on my next post? Okay. And this is how I work with people. And I can talk through a little bit of my processes of what we kind of do together to kind of give you an idea of how you could do it when you're by yourself. Okay, so first up, I've got my social media sprint, which is a one-to-one. So instead of a group chat, it's more of a conversation back and forth between you and I, and we work together through your specific problems. Then a content creation day. So a typical day for that. So this is my client who is a goldsmith. And so the last time I was in with her, we spent the first 2 hours kind of getting our plan together for the day. And by the time we'd finished those 2 hours, we had created 9 bits of content. Then when we got back to her workshop, we went and filmed the stuff that we needed to then go on to create, I think, 15 or 16 bits of content the other day. I think I was there from 9:30 till 4 o'clock. So we absolutely got a mountain of stuff done that can then be scheduled up, which is excellent. And it can just go forward and, just every day or just however often she needed it through her Instagram channel. And then I also cover events. So people would hire me to go behind the scenes. And if you're working an event, say, for instance, I had a client recently at the Balmoral show, the things that you need to be looking out for if you don't have the likes of me working for you are to try and get your products in a different light, because it's out of your home setting that you always take it in. So that's a really good place to try and get those kind of shots. Please try and get someone to take a photo of you behind your stand, because you want to be writing up about it. You also want to try and maybe get content of the people to the left and to the right of you, because then you can tag them in your stories on Instagram and say, oh, thanks so-and-so for being the best neighbors during the Balmoral show or whatever. Because that story, they might share it onto their stories, and then more new eyes are saying, oh, who's this? And let's go over to their channel, let's follow them. So have a little think about things like that you can do. Definitely, if you have the likes of a little tripod that you could set up away from your stand and get a bit of a time lapse of the busyness of people coming by to see it, that's another great one as well, because these are the sort of things that you need to be thinking about before you go and do an event, because I've seen how expensive it is for wee businesses to pay to market your product at events and exhibitions and stuff. It's a big chunk of your marketing budget, but you need to be squeezing every last bit out of it. So you need to be, in the run up to the event, talking about it, getting people excited on your social media. Then how are you packing your car in the run up to the event? Then the event itself, who your neighbors are, your products at it, you working at it. Then afterwards, you want to be talking about it. And then a few months afterwards being like, I can't believe it's been 3 months since the blah, blah, blah. And, you're sharing that, another piece of content again after it. That's how you're wringing every little bit of content out of one event. So, yep, that is what I do whenever I go to people's events. I take that pressure off them so they don't have to worry about it. Okay.
Another day using
So,
ChatGPT to help out a client. And let me show you how I did it. Right, so
this is a client that I worked with recently, and we used ChatGPT. And how I did it was I spoke to the person in charge and found out what exactly happens. What is the process of when, in this case, a car gets delivered to their scrapyard of sorts, like what happens to it? And we just wrote it all down, and then I asked ChatGPT to create a script based on this and what the filming points should be. I know all this myself, but it just kept it nice and concise and short. Okay, so this is something that you can try yourself. From there, I then had a list of the type of content that I needed to capture. So I went around with my list and just marked it off. I need to get a video of the car. I need to get a video of the people doing the, draining the oil out, the people you know, packing up the boxes and things like that. And from there, I was able to create a video for this company that ended up getting over 300,000 views on their channel because it answered so many questions for the people that were coming to their Facebook page for the first time. Yep. Again with so that was just a creative little reel that I've done with Robinson Goldsmiths, and they have definitely stepped into like allowing me to say, right, you know what's going to look good. And they now have so many people that come into their shop to say, oh, I saw you on social media and I you know, I love your reels and your carousels. And I think if it fits in with your brand, then people really love seeing that energy coming through on your social. If it's disjointed, you're missing such an opportunity. If you know, love having your customers coming in and it's like a real big experience for them. If you have a bricks and mortar shop, then you need to try and get that over onto your social media as well. But if you don't have a bricks and mortar shop, well, then there's never been a better time to be a business person, I think, because you know, how much would all of this cost 40 years ago? And that's another thing. If you get a bit annoyed sometimes and think, I posted that and it only got, you know, 200 views and 20 likes. Well, how much would you have paid for that to get 200 people in a room at a different time before social media existed? So just work on your messaging to try and attract more people for the next time. Yeah, so this.
Hi guys, we're here today to pick the 2 winners of the Junior Toolkits. Let's have a look.
Yeah, this was me in 2015. Big high voice, super nervous. That camera work is something else. Yeah, I would look at all this dead space. I absolutely would have trimmed that out.
Congratulations, Jay Bud.
So you can see things have absolutely changed between when I first started it and now. And it's unfortunately, it is all just practice, which is, you know, people are always looking for kind of like the magic potion that's going to get them super confident on, you know, talking to camera. And it's been a long process. I always love that I have that video because it reminds me that I started off in a place where I was very scared to even show my face and just didn't have a tripod in those days either. So improvements can be made across the board. Right. There we go. That is my chat for today. And do you have questions for me? I'm really excited to find out which ones you do have. Here are my details for a little bit longer in case you didn't get them. And then I'm going to stop sharing and we'll crack on with the questions section. So there we go. Okay. All right, there you go. I can have a little look first of all at the comments and see if what people are saying here. So yeah, I said about the spice blends and seasoning. Ideally would love to use carousels to put a recipe up. I also saw somebody asking about how you can put the text on screen. A simple way to do that, if you don't have the likes of Canva or things like that, if you go onto Instagram and go into stories, okay, then click, you can go into either your photos and you could find a photo that you wanted and add text over it. Or if you just wanted a plain color, okay, just take a random photo of yourself, that's fine. Go to the 3 dots in the top right-hand corner and click on draw. Then click on a color at the bottom that you like. I'm going to go for a wee blush pink. And if you press and hold on the screen, it'll just fill that page up with the full color that you want to use. Then press done. Then press the AA button at the top. That's where you add text in. Okay. And then you're going to write, what a day, training some amazing people in social media. Okay, so we've got this. And if I want to adjust the size of this, I can use this slider along the side. Okay, and then I can also use two fingers to kind of make it bigger, smaller in that sense as well. Okay, now I would want to have it in the middle of the screen. Do not have text the whole length of this, because this is the full size that a story or a reel would be, but you're only using this for a post, which will be shorter. Okay, so it'll only be about this size. And then what you want to do is go to the three dots in the top right-hand corner and press save. And that will save that down onto your camera roll. So it means you can then put a photo, then go back into your photo album, and you can get this one, which is just text, but it is a photo essentially, and then another photo, and then another wall of text. And you could, for your recipe, you could, when you go and make it, you can just take photos as you go along. But what I would also suggest for you is create a video. And if you've got an iPhone, a wee trick you can do while you're filming on an iPhone, okay, is, so say I have started recording here. Can you all see that white button on your iPhone when you're filming? If you press that, that takes a photo without stopping the recording. So you'll have a still as well as a moving video. So you can put a reel together, and you can also put a carousel together, because this is the trick with social media, right? You want to be, you don't just post about something once and be like, right, that's enough now. I've talked about this recipe once this year, so I'll never talk about it again. Like, you can absolutely talk about it in many different ways, as a carousel, as a story, as a reel, and you can share that across the space of, you know, a month or two. All right, let's have a wee look what's next. Yes, your petting farm, kids farm, that's going to be so cool. I would just do a massive feature on each of the animals, okay? And just cute stuff. Use those interactive tools on stories as well, and just yeah. Oh, you've got so much potential, and there's some really cool farms, or, you know, doing some fun stuff with their animals as well, that you can have a little look for. Waxing specialist, laser hair and tattoo removal business. Yes, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. For me, I would love to see, even just asking people if you can start with your clients by taking photos of some of the processes, like especially the tattoo removal. My goodness, that would be such an interesting one to see. People always love like those befores and afters and the journey, and just letting people know that this isn't an overnight fix. This is, you know, a big one. If you wanted to, though, you could also, you know, those questions that I was asking earlier, you could say, what was your first tattoo and what age were you? That could be something that you could put up there. Right. Hi, I do creative mindfulness, interactive in-person group work with children, teaching them emotions and feelings. I love that. So you could definitely take those and make each of those really, really specific type breath work guided meditation sessions into a reel. So you've got up to 90 seconds, and you just want to explain, this is a reel if you've had a really tough day at school today, but be it, you would know better than I with what exactly the tough day entailed. Get niche with that. This is a reel for when you've got a busy mind, but it's bedtime, and just list it out. What are the types of problems that you help kids with, and then make a reel for each of them. And what I would recommend for you in a big way is, when you're choosing your cover photo, make it bespoke to what it is about, because then people are more likely to go to your page and be looking through your reels and trying to see where's the bedtime one. But if you're always kind of like, say you have a uniform maybe that you wear, it'll be hard to differentiate. But if you have your cover photos made, which you can make in the same way as I've just explained in stories. So you would take a picture of you, and then you can write the words meditation for busy bedtimes or whatever it is. And then you go into the top right hand 3 dots, press the download button, and then you can, when you're in the Reels section and it says edit cover, you click on it, and then you click add from camera roll, you click on that. And then that's where you've got your cover, and it'll help guide people to the right video for what they're looking for. Right. I use Canva to schedule posts, but you can only schedule single posts, not carousels. Yeah, so annoying. So go into the back end of Meta, and you can do it from there. Meta Business Suite, and it's cool because it has a planner, which is like a calendar, and you can see where you've posted. Interestingly, you can go back in time and go through the months to when you posted something before. And if you've posted what I call a bit of evergreen content, you can then, as long as it's not a reel, you can click onto it, you can press duplicate post, and you could just repost that again. And it means that you don't have to do very much work. You could maybe try and edit the caption to be something a little more modern, but that's a good way of going back through content that you've posted before. Also, a very cool one for people who are already at the stage where they are posting Instagram Reels and they've been doing so for a while, and you've got the premium Canva edition, you pay for Canva. You go to Canva and you create a new reel size document, 9 by 16. Then on the left-hand side, if you click on apps and search for Instagram, you can link it up with your Instagram, and you'll see all of your videos and your posts that you've created. You can then drag that video over onto the canvas and download it, and it won't have the Instagram watermark on it. And that's how you can download your videos without the Instagram watermark, which you can then cross post onto the likes of LinkedIn, YouTube, and TikTok. So there you go. I supply bear making kits and deliver bear making workshops, no sewing involved, for kids' parties, weddings, nursery schools. Amazing, crafty teddies. That sounds great. And I would do things like looking at all your accessories for them, or grouping them into animal types. So today we're focusing only on green. I'm feeling green today, and you're looking at everything that's green. This also works for anybody who has lots of products that are in different colors, and just like people can swipe through on the carousels for all green things, or all maybe you have like lots of teddies that are farmyard animals or something like that, and you can go through there. Let's see, how do you add a slide for information? I've done that already. Oh yeah, reviews from your bake sale. So for a carousel, I would want to see the close-up of like a fancy picture of the, German biscuit you've made, and then what the review of it would be. And, if you had any spare ones, you could have like a wee video of it being dipped or something. No, not that you would dip a German biscuit. Well, you might. There's people out there. Okay, specialist dyslexia tutor supporting children and young people with literacy difficulties. What would you like to know on that? I suppose you want to think about who your audience is. Is it the child on your Instagram, or is it the parent or carer of a child? So have a little think about how you would speak to them in real life. And that's all you have to do on social media. That's another wee bit of advice that I would say to you, right? See, when the phone comes up for the first time, it can be really tempting to just think, I'm speaking to all 500 people on my channel. You're not, okay? Get your mindset in this space where you are imagining a very specific person that you're speaking to, and in your mind's eye, you're with them face to face and you're actually telling them your spiel, or you're sending them a voice note if you sometimes communicate through that way. Just imagine that is the level, because sometimes it can be so overwhelming to think like, oh, who am I speaking to? Don't do it that way. Just have that one person in your mind, and it makes the whole video filming aspect of it much, much easier. Okay, clothes, safety boots, engineering supplies, horse feed, right, lots and lots. And you've got another yard that sells machinery and tractor breakers. For clothing, I would point out the pockets, the zips, the fastenings, and the benefits of the clothes. That's what I used to do when I was selling clothing for the bike industry, because you want people to know that, oh, there's actually a hidden pocket in here. This bit's reflective. The sleeves are, they've got a wee cuff here, it's stretchy, if it's raining and things like that. And that could be a whole video. So you don't have to sell the whole shop in one video. You can just go product by product and show some of the stuff. And another thing, see if you are filming, right, and you've got your product here, don't be moving your phone around it, okay? Because this is the eyes of your viewer. So you wouldn't look at a product like this, right? You would move it like this to see what it is, okay? So when you pick up your phone, keep this hand still, and this hand is the mover, okay? And this hand shows off the features, and it goes up close and it goes far away, okay? So yep, that's how I would do that. Right, I think that is time for the 10 minutes here, but for questionings. But if anybody has any extra questions, like please, by all means, get in touch with me or shout through. I'm very aware that I don't want to keep you guys back from your, getting back to work and things like that. But I know there's there's a few more here. I'm going to take a picture of, and I can message, or I can create some content over on my stories about that to follow that on. But yeah, hopefully that has been really helpful for you all, and you've got some benefit out of the past hour. If you have any feedback at all, I'd love to hear it, and any more questions, please.
Lynn, do you want to stop recording and I'll just launch the poll, which is just